Ulonga tabati yada tó yẹ kó máa da ifá. Inú tó yẹ kó jẹun ló fi bí pa. Ọba tálá, ọba takuntakun. Shango, Èṣù, Ògún, Ọya, Ọ̀ṣun. Ìwọ ló ń bọ̀ nílé. Kí ni ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ tán ṣe nílé yìí o? Ó jẹ́ lọ jára.
Alafia, boy, peace and blessings, family. Welcome to another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. I'm your host, Orisha Gbemi, and I have Baba Shango Ni stopping back by today. Baba Ni, what's going on with you? How you doing today?
Man, I'm good. I can't complain. How are you?
I'm blessed, brother. I'm ready to get this thing cracking. I think it's only been about a week since we did the last one, but a lot has happened, transpired. A lot of a lot of good opportunities coming our way, and so I'm looking forward to just keeping it rolling, brother. Keeping it rolling for sure.
Yes, indeed, man. And I want to let the people know too, man. This is a growing podcast that's going to be even bigger than what they see. And I'm excited for what's to come, man. You got a lot of great interviews coming up. You know what I mean? That's going to help spread this thing, nationwide, man. We got to get these messages out to the people,
Ashe, listen, and I gotta give a shout out to Kabiese Baba Shango, man, Obakoso, because energy is real strong, man. It's real strong right now. I feel the thunder coming. You know what I mean? I see the lightning lighting up, so it's definitely about to light up, bro. I'm looking forward to it.
Ashe.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. So I appreciate you. So with that, we've been chopping it up pretty regularly, and it's always an explosive conversation. But the last one we had, it was not only explosive and powerful in terms of what we were speaking on, but it's also powerful and explosive in terms of what is to come, based off of us just beginning the Ifa, Isheshe New Year, June, a couple of days, or I say about a week or so ago. From that, you had some divine insight that kind of came across your path and across your way, in which you were able to get some really, really deep, intricate messages, divine messages from Ifa and from divination about, the Ori and so many more things. But I'd rather you kind of, share with us, what it is that you came across and how, significant these divination and these messages that's coming through to us from Ifa and from the ancestral realm. So can you kind of share a little bit about what we spoke about in terms of what is to come and what Ifa is expecting for us this coming year?
Yes, man. So, the Odu for the New Year's Otu Rico, which is Oturu Ogbe, which happens to be my Odu, and also, my grandfather's Odu as well, Baba Rishamola. And I was talking to my father a couple of days ago, man, and I was he was working out, and I was on my way to go work out, and Otu Rico talks about the health, right? It talks about the health, and it also talks about your Ori guiding you to all your blessings. So with that, man, he was working out, and I asked him, I was like, man, what was the formula for my grandmother and my grandfather's success as far as them having an Ile? So, when you have an Ile, you're helping people get on their road and stay on their road. So my pops, man, he was like, man, your grandmother was the facilitator. And she made sure, everybody was comfortable, they had somewhere to sleep, they were eating, whatever the case may be, she was holding it down. And, he was like, your grandfather didn't hold anybody back. And I was like, okay. And he was like, he gave me this whole spiel. And I was like, well, everything that you said was good, but the number one thing that they mastered even before they became priests is being healthy to service people. When you're working out every day, when you're eating right, as an Inyanifa or Babalawo, or even Orisha priest, you're feeding the ashe that's within you. So a lot of people don't equate spirituality and real life together.
Facts.
They don't put it together. So for my grandparents, before they became priests, my pops, he was the number one point guard in the nation from 7th grade to 12th grade.
I should.
And he was with the pros. He was doing pro workouts. And this is before they became priests. He was at the top of his. So for my grandparents, man, like they showed us how things need to look. They laid the foundation, but they were also vegan. They were vegan. They walked every day. They ran, whatever they could do. But it was the cleansing of the Ori. When you work out, it's a cleansing of your Ori. Because if you're unhealthy, your mind isn't able to gain clarity. So that's something that people don't equate to spirituality, man. Even if you're an Orisha priest, if you're a Shango priest or Ogun priest, how would you feed that Orisha that you have the ashe of?
Ashe.
What does that look like?
Right.
You know what I mean? If you're an Egungun priest, how are you feeding your Egun? Even though they might have liked fried chicken and whatever they may look like, but they want you to do better than what they did.
Facts.
So at the end of the day, man, like that's what we have to look at as practitioners. You know what I mean? Like it's not you. It shouldn't be a thing where you're overweight practicing Ifa. If you are, it's like, okay, listen, man, like let's set some boundaries as far as this health thing. You know what I mean? Because ORI is very real this year, and sickness they talk about sickness a lot for Puerto Rico. So with that, man, it comes from not being healthy. So as Ifa practitioners, we have to hold each other accountable when it comes down to the health side of the people that we're around. You can't pull somebody's coattail and be like, hey, man, if you need some help, man, I can help you meal prep, and we can work out together, whatever. There's not enough talk about that within what's going on. So if you're not healthy physically, you don't have healthy conversations, which is our Ofo Ashe. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So
that's what we have to, practice when it comes down to Ifa, man. That's not really talked about like that at all. So the cleansing of the Ori is being healthy both physically and mentally by just working out and doing the work.
Yeah, no, that's powerful, bro. That's powerful. And you know what's it's so dope to see like the divine alignment in all these conversations. Like it really is, because last night I had another episode with Baba Kara Day, and mind you, I believe Baba is like 71, 72, if I'm not mistaken. And he talks about that. He talks about how dedicated he is to his diet, how dedicated he is to exercising, how dedicated he is to working out. Like he goes to the park. He said, when the sun's up, I'm up. I'm out the house. I'm either, in the park doing Pilates, I'm meditating. It's just so many different things that he's doing at 72. And then he's also drumming. And then he said he got a row machine right there in his living room. So he's like, if the weather's not good and, it's not feasible for me to go out to the sun and get the sunshine, the vitamin D, and work out, I'm right here rowing my rowboat. And he's 72, bro. So it's like, for him to be that adamant about it, he told me on one call where he was like, I don't do blood sacrifice no more. And he said, some people kind of, frown upon it or what have you. He said, but I don't owe anybody anything. He said, because from as long as I've been practicing E5, he said, I don't really necessarily feel like I have to do that anymore, because I feel like I am E5. He said, I live E5. Everything about E5 is me. Everything about me is E5. So I was like, wow, it was powerful. Like for him to share that in that light. So it's like for him, to be in his early 70s to be exercising consistently and diligently and dedicated to it, I feel like it's no excuse for the rest of us. You know what I mean? It's just no excuse for if the elders are doing it and they got decades over us, there's no excuse for us not to do it. And I think for me personally, I know for a fact, like we were speaking about, every time I work out, I'm high. Like I get a high like no other high after I leave the gym. Like sometimes I come home, I be so, so high and riled up. I be getting on my wife nerves because she like, you need to calm that down, like turn that down. Like it's too much. It's just too much. But that's energy. And like you said, what Orisha do we see that's out of shape? What Orisha do we see that doesn't personify beauty, whether it's from the feminine aspect or from the masculine aspect? You know what I mean? So if we're gonna be the emissaries or the pillars of Ifa or Orisha, and we're gonna embody, try to be an embodiment of them or personification of them, then I think it should work on all phases and all aspects, like you were saying, especially starting with ORI,
Yes, man, it's imperative, and in E5, man, we talk a lot about longevity. It's like people want to obtain things. We want all the wealth, and we want all the array of Ajay. We want all this array, but the array comes from my grandmother. She always stresses to me, take care of self, and everything else will handle itself. How do you expect to get all of this array when you're setting up a blockage? You're setting up this blockage of not being healthy, not making sure that you're eating right, not making sure that you're instilling the right things in your body. There's people, that, claim to be, EFI practitioners, man, that don't understand the necessary steps of taking care of self. And like I said, man, it's not, it's not talked about enough.
Right.
We can sit up and do ball all day. We can do whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like when we sit back and reflect, what does self look like within the culture of Ifa? And when people get, readings that come up in EB or Sobo, it's like, man, what type of mental blockage do you have? What type of physical blockage do you have? How many bridges have you burned? You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Because we talk about harmony and having peace with other people from all walks of life, man. So at the end of the day, we got to do self-reflection, and a lot of people can't sit with self. A lot of people can't sit with self and be real with self.
Right.
And be like, oh man, yeah, I did this, and yeah, I did that, and how can I correct it? They say what do they say? Oh God, what do they say? Oh God, man, it's a quote. It'll come to me. It'll come to me. It's a quote.
Is it the best sacrifice is sacrifice itself?
Prevention is better than the cure. Prevention is better than the cure. That had been instilled in me as a child.
Right. That's facts too.
If we can prevent something, that's what Ifa seeds through the cracks and crevices.
Right.
Which is the prevention.
Right.
So in doing the human things, we have to do the human things outside of what Ifa sees for us.
Right.
If Ifa sees through the cracks and crevices, they see what's going on around the corner. How are we going to facilitate what's being done after you get divination? But like I said, it's all about sitting with self. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people depend strictly on spirit to make things happen for them.
Right.
If you want to lose weight, you got to work out.
That's facts.
If you want to do anything, you have to put a human action to it. People just depend on spirit to solve their problems.
Right.
but you gotta sit with self in order to solve the problems and let spirit do what it's gonna do.
Nah, that's real. That's real. And you know, and even just thinking about it, how significant this is for us as a people. You know what I mean? Like, you know, of course, in the Shay community and Ifa and everything in terms of our, you know, belief system in our community, you know, within itself. But as a whole, if you think about it, I mean, I could just think on and look at both sides of my family, how many different family members that have diabetes, how many different family
Yes.
members that have high blood pressure, how many different family members that have, you know what I mean, all these different ailments and different health challenges,
Yes.
which systemically has been kind of imposed upon us because of our eating habits. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And if we have better eating habits, I don't really see us having diabetes. I don't really see us having heart disease. I don't really see us having heart attacks or strokes. So, you know, all these different ailments that come from having a negative or a bad diet. And if
Yes.
we can flip the script and kind of transform the mentality when it comes to eating habits and exercises, I mean, it could shift the paradigm on a whole nother level. Brother, I'm seeing elders in their 70s in the gym, and some of them got a better physique than me. And you know what I'm saying? I'm not exaggerating, like for real, for real. And it's just like,
Right. Right.
you know, like I'm impressed because I'm like, bro, like, okay, if I see this brother here in like his late 60s, early 70s, I'm talking about he's shredded. Like he looked like if you didn't, and not even the face don't even look old. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if I'm
Yeah.
seeing him and he's 30, 40 years my senior looking like that, or 20, 30 years my senior, I'm like, yo, that's motivation to me. And I
Yeah.
make sure most of the time I'll take the time to tell them, you're like, yo, that like I see you. You know what I'm saying? Like that
Yeah.
inspire me because now I see I can't slack off and I can't slow up. Like I gotta keep it going, I gotta keep it pushing because not only am I trying to be here, but if I'm gonna be here, I want to be here looking like this. Like I
There
want
you
to
go.
be looking like you because you're
There
doing
you
it.
go.
You know what I mean? So it's like it's
There
something
you go.
that can be done, it should be done, but I feel like these kind of conversations have to take place in order for that shift in that mindset, you know what I'm saying, to be like flip the script and for it to be transformed.
Yes. Yes, man. It's it's very, very, very important, man, that we work together. If you are part of the ELA or whatever the case may be, man, that we practice, healthy living together as we talk about cleansing the ORI.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like we should be feeding and cleansing each other's ORI by helping.
Facts.
You know
Facts.
what I mean? Like a lot of people just think, oh, okay, well, I got my Elay or Reed, or I know what to do with the cola, and whatever the case may be, which is great. But it's like, do all of it conducively together, and
Right.
it makes it that much more powerful.
Right. Right.
So that's what a lot of people really don't. Like I said, a lot of people just don't put it together, man. Like it's so simple. When it comes down to just holding each other accountable
Facts.
on and just looking at the bigger picture and the greater possibilities, because we all want to see each other be here for
Right.
a long time and have the longevity of our elders and be 70, 80, 90 years old, and still able to practice Ifa and do what we love to do every day.
Right.
So yeah, man, it's a beautiful thing, man.
Oh yeah. And I see I'll tell you another example who I feel like have been doing this for a while now is the nation, like the Nation of Islam. Like if you look
Yeah.
at the way the organization is structured and the way that they have a lot of things in place, they have tools in place, for diet, for finances, for, a lot of the things that we deal with. And I work hand in hand with the chapter here locally, with the brother who runs the mosque in the Tampa Bay area. So it's like I see it hands on. And there's a lot of these different practices that I feel like we can implement as well into our ELAs, into our communities as well, into our houses, because it does take a group effort. You know what I mean? It takes
Yeah.
all of us to play our role, kind of like Outcast say, the world is stage, the world's a stage, everybody got to play their part. You feel me? So
There
it's
you
like
go.
all playing our part. And like you said, holding each other accountable, then there's really no reason why we can't make it do what it do. On top of when you talk about the technology now, you could check, you could put in Chat GPT pretty much anything like, hey, give me a 30-day meal plan based off of a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet with, you know, low carbs, You can literally put that in there and it'll print it out, spit it out for you in less than a minute. So now, not only do you have a 30-day meal plan, but you got the ingredients, the recipes, everything you need to make it. So it's like with the technology, the advancement in technology now, it's really no excuse for us not to be able to do some of these basic fundamentals in terms of like just, you know, applying them and making it happen.
Yeah, man, because we have more resources. And, you know, back then, man, they didn't have really much as far as resources, man. Like there, you know, the internet really wasn't a thing at all.
Right.
You know, so the only thing that they had was each other and communication. You know, communication, and that's something else that lacks within the Ifa community, is that the communication isn't there, and the age barriers and the respect levels of certain things aren't there either.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, because you know, with technology coming in place, it's made people really complacent.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, it's made people complacent. It's made people not want to communicate, and it's made us really lazy mentally and physically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even though we have more resources, it's like, okay, well, what is it doing? What is it really doing for our mental and our physical?
Right.
Because we're sitting here on our phones and we're just doing this.
Yeah.
Rather than doing what we're doing right now, you know, having dialogue.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of people who don't know how to have, you know, dialogue and within the culture and have conversations of substance that are actually going to go somewhere.
Right.
You know, like we shouldn't have to tiptoe around each other with conversations.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like let the conversation be of substance and growth within the culture. You know, like you mentioned, you know, the Nation of Islam and all of that good stuff, man. Like, you know, those brothers, man, they sit around and have very, very high intelligent conversations.
Oh yeah.
And they speak about growth.
Right.
You know, like their whole mission is the growth of, you know, human beings
Right.
in general. You know what I mean? So within the Ifa community, and it's something I want to address as well when it comes down to Ifa. And I want to let people know that, you know, we don't, you know, push out, you know, other cultures or religions, man. Like if you're a Muslim, if you're a Christian, if you're Baptist, whatever the case may be, like, you know, you can definitely still practice Ifa if that's your road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some people who are only supposed to practice Ifa.
Right.
There's some people that are only, you know, that can practice both or whatever else that you do, you know, because that's your road. Everybody has different roads.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what people don't understand when it comes down to Ifa, man, is that, you know, we're not here to outcast anybody.
Right.
You know, everything should be in harmony together. You should be able to live and do what you love to do and still be inside of Ifa and not feel like an outcast.
Facts.
You know, so yeah, that's something that, you know, I feel people have like mixed and screwed as well. So
Right. No, I love that. And you know, I've seen it, now that I think about it, I've seen it in multiple ways and multiple people that I know. So for example, one, it's a sister who I go to for healing work. She does phenomenal Reiki sessions. She's a medium, but she's I want to say she's an ordained pastor, a minister, but she's also a Ifa practitioner. She's a child of
right.
Oshun and proud of that. You know what I mean? Like, but she's a very powerful healer and medium. So it's like I go to her, I would say I try to go quarterly, you know, to get a tune up, to get an energy tune up. You know what I mean? Baba Tolu, I love what he's doing, the Balogun Shango USA, with his Three Good Hearts organization. And I
Yeah.
feel like, you know, I had the opportunity to interview them. I can't remember what number the episode of the podcast it was that I interviewed them, but they are, to me, like, I feel like they are they should be the example or the blueprint as to how we should move in terms of humanity, because that organization, they came together because Baba is an Ifa, Babalawo, Ifa priest,
Yes.
Balogun Shango, USA. Mr. Adebayo is a devoted Christian. He grew up in Yoruba tradition because he grew up in Oshogbo, you know what I mean? But he then changed to Christianity. And then Abdul is a devoted Muslim. He's the brother of Muslim faith. You know what I mean? And all three of them came together to create a nonprofit organization that's to help serve humanity, and help serve people with disabilities and people who, children who are in underprivileged children who are in schools, that don't have the resources that they should have. And it's like, if they can come together and do that, bro, like, to me, I'm like, that, to me, there's no excuse for nobody else for us not to work together, especially amongst our people, melanated people. And I think that's something that I don't really come across too many E5 practitioners who kind of like shun or look the other way about people who practice other faiths. I think it's more so a lot of people from other faiths tend to look, and shun E5, you know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of it may be necessarily from a lack of knowledge or maybe ignorance, you know what I mean? I'm not sure what that's about, but I do know that I haven't really crossed paths with anyone who's an E5 practitioner, priest, priestess, Babalawo, Yanifa, etc., who doesn't rock with or respect other people's faith systems. You know what I mean? Like, even, I don't know if you're familiar with Elemi's work, Elemi Yeyeo Botanica. She has a nice size YouTube channel. Sister out of Jersey, I believe. But if I'm not mistaken, she's a Christian pastor, a Buddhist, I don't know what title, but she's into Buddhism, and but she's I want to say she's a priestess of Oshun. So she's Ifa. Her husband, I think, is a Babalawo, but she said, like, I don't have to limit myself spiritually. She's like, all these different paths and these different faiths have all played their role in my development as a person. So, and I mean, she is Orisha through and through. Like, her whole channel is pretty much based off of, Orisha work, but she's clear about who she is, and she's proud of it. And I respect the hell out of it, because it's like, nobody really has the right to tell you what works for you. You know what I mean? Like, whatever works for you works for you. And it's just, I think that's something that that's another narrative or conversation that I would love to have further with you and other, a lot of our other people in our network, in terms of the collaboration over competition, or better yet, collaboration over, non-admission because of who it is that we pray to. Because I know one thing I love about Malcolm is he said religion's not working for us as a people, because if religion was working, our people wouldn't be in the situation that we're in right now. So we should probably put religion in the closet for now. Let's start nation building and working together to get our people out of the situation that we are in with oppression. And then we can go back and revisit religion. So it's like, I respect that as well, because it's let's just call it what it is. We got a lot of work to do to get us out of the situation that we're in terms of being people who, as a whole, in the masses that are being faced with oppression, whether it's spiritually, whether it's economically, whether it's, physically, emotionally. It's a lot of work that we have to do to get a lot of us out of these situations. And I think holding back or not collaborating together based off of faith systems, that's kind of like, that's a liability that we don't need to take on, as a collective. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but my thing is, man, is that who's to tell you how to cleanse your ORI? As we sit, as the conversation is about ORI.
Yeah.
Man, I've been to a Buddhist temple once. And people don't know how to take certain aspects from different cultures or religions and implement it into their lives.
Sure. That's facts. That's facts.
Man, because Buddhists, they sit with self. Literally.
Yeah.
Buddhists sit with self.
Yep.
And it's one of the most calming experiences you could ever have.
Facts.
Because you're sitting in silence. A lot of people can't sit in silence.
Yeah.
It's like how hard, how hard is that for some people, man? A lot of people need a lot of rah-rah going on.
Yeah.
But when you put somebody in silence with themselves and they have to sit back and reflect and they're in their own thoughts, what does that look like for the majority of the world? When you have to literally sit there with yourself, you can hear a pin drop on the ground.
Yeah.
Man, a lot of people can't fathom sitting with themselves. So with us talking about Ori, man, like you have to respect how people cleanse their Ori, man.
Mm.
If that's being a Buddhist, or if that's being an Ifa, or it's being a Muslim, or it's whatever the case may be, man. It's all the cleansing of the Ori, because it's something that's feeding your spirit, something that's feeding your mental, and a lot of people pass judgment on what other people do, even like the Reiki, all of that, man. It works.
Right.
You have to do what works for you.
Facts.
Because at the end of the day, man, we're all trying to, we're all striving to be, well, I'm hoping that we're, striving to be our best self. So with that, it's like, man, how can you judge the next person for what they do?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they have Odu, or just talking about I don't know if you've ever heard of Omoluabi.
Mm-mm.
Omoluabi, man, teaches us how to have try to have perfect Iwa Pwele as Ifa practitioners.
Right.
But it talks about, respecting everything, down to the ant, to the grass, the trees,
right.
to, your mother, father, the works, man, even the prostitute on the street.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? The pimp or whoever, you got to respect everything around you.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, like that's something that, us as, Ifa practitioners, we have to learn to respect what people do.
Right.
And there's, I've seen people go, back and forth as far as, what's right and what's wrong.
Right.
It's like, oh man, you practicing Lukumi and you need to be doing Isheshe. And if you're doing Lukumi and Isheshe at the same time, you need to pick one. It's like, why are we having this battle?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, let people do what they do. If it works for them, let them.
No, that's facts though. That's
if they're
facts.
not hurting nobody.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
everybody has different formulas.
Right.
As long as the people that they're dealing with, or that particular person is feeling uplifted, they're living their life, their finances are right, everything, like leave them alone. Let the situation be.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying, man? So a lot of people just don't know how to show that level of respect for each other.
Yeah, that's facts. That's big.
So that's something that we have to, that's something that we have to, really practice, man. Like a lot of people don't know that the ant represents Ifa. That's why as Ifa, as Babalao and Yanni, we can't kill ants because they are Ifa. So at the end of the day, man, like, we have to learn to respect each other. We have to learn to feed each other's Ori. We have to, like you said, we have to nation build. It's real. It's not just about Ifa, it's about the collective whole. Ifa is an ancient culture. It's been around for a long time. But, like a lot of these other religions, you know what I mean? Like they've been around for God knows how long. But at the end of the day, man, like we can all respect each other as people.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like it's even with the government, it's this divide and conquer. You get what I'm saying? Like, but as spiritualists, man, we can't have that divide and conquer mentality, because we're never gonna get anywhere.
Right.
You know what I mean? We already have to, fight that with the powers that be.
Right.
You know what I mean? So for us, man, as spiritualists, man, we need to be as cool, calm, and collected as possible. So for Ori to be a main factor this year, man, it's about keeping a cool head, being steady in what you do, and being focused and letting your Ori guide you where you need to go.
That's facts. No, I love it, bro. And let me ask you this, because like I know as far as like what I get is with the feedback from the people who do respond or leave comments or questions, etc. on the channel. What can but well, first let's just do this, because like I said, there's people of all phases who watch the channel. Like a lot of people are beginners. They're new to African spirituality. They're new to the they're new to this whole movement, right? So they don't necessarily know like what some of the words are that we speak about. When we speak about, Ori, when we speak about Ashe, when we speak about Igungun, when we speak about, different words that we know that we use, on a regular basis. That's kind of, I would say, elementary to us, but to people who are new in their journey and their path, they might not necessarily know what some of these phrases and terms are or mean. So I got a couple quick questions I'm gonna try to get, to you before we gotta wrap it up. What do you, in terms of the just Ori as a whole, can you kind of break down what Ori is? And then from there, I'll go into asking you, what can new beginners or new travelers on this journey do to kind of feed or appease their Ori? So from your perspective, what exactly is our Ori?
Well, first off, your Ori is your head. It's your temple. Without Ori, there's no life.
Yeah.
Without the head, we have nothing.
Yeah. Facts.
So in layman's terms, man, Ori is about clarity. Ori is about how can I put it? Ori is about I'm trying to figure out how I can put it in layman's terms so people that aren't Ifa can really understand. Ori is about direction. It's about, because like I said, without the head, you can't see. There's nothing. There's no life without the head.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? So with that, man, Ori is about direction. It's about clarity. It's about being one with self.
Right.
It's about alignment. Spiritual, physical, mental. It's all of that combined. It's about alignment.
Right.
And it's mainly, man, it's one of those things where, it Ori allows you to be strictly in your own thoughts, with showing judgment of self. You get what I'm saying? Like, how many people, can sit and have judgment of self, which is the cleansing of the Ori. When you can sit with self, when you can sit in silence, it's a cleansing of the Ori. You get what I'm saying? So with that, man, when you have clarity, when you have direction, that's, you have alignment. That's Ori. You get what I'm saying? And it's all about being the head and never the tail.
Facts.
That's something that my grandfather would always tell us. Exercise. Oh, Ori is patience. Ori is, Obatala. Cool, calm, collected. What does that look like for a lot of people?
Yeah.
So that's what. We have to realize as, Ifa practitioners and people who are just starting out in the culture, but because, like I said, man, Puerto Rico this year is major. Ori is about all of that, man. It's about everything calm.
Yeah, that's real.
Period, point blank, man. It's about studying oneself to get to where you need to go.
I sure.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Like that's something that a lot of people, don't do self-evaluation.
Right. That's real.
That's what ORI is. Before you can talk about doing any ritual for ORI,
Right.
it's like those simple things make up what ORI is.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like we, as being the head, the head, but outside of the heart, man, it's the strongest thing on our body. Because you need the ORI to push through. You know what I mean? Like what is your mental fortitude look like?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you get tired and you're working out, do you have that mental fortitude to talk yourself out of it to keep going?
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So at the end of the day, man, it's all about exercising um, the fortitude and taking your ORI to lengths that you could never imagine.
Right.
It's that's what ORI is, man. It's taking your mind to places that you could never imagine and conquering, your highest self.
That's facts. It's
Yeah.
funny because that's exactly what I was gonna say. And the quickest definition that I would probably try to give someone is it is your higher self, and the ORI
Yes.
is not just your higher self, but it's your higher self and your inner self. And that's the ORI is the personification of the personal or internal Orisha. And even if,
Yep.
we break down the word phonetically, the ORI has to come before the actual Sha, which the Sha would be representing the Orisha that's connected to our head. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Yours would be Shango, mine would be Obatala. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, we don't have that connection of being able to have the ashe of Shango or Obatala being instilled into our head, or I should say our Ori, if we
Mm-hmm.
don't have our Ori. So we have
Yes.
to have the ORI in order to kind of like Legos or even a tractor to a trailer or a train to, to its caboose. Like you have to have the ORI before you can even have an attachment to, add on to from an Orisha. You know what I mean? So like that would be, I think, as you were giving your answer, I was like, how would I answer that question? You know what I mean? But I think that's
Yeah.
what just like it's our inner self, our higher self, and our
Yes.
personal, our personal deity or our personal spiritual, you know what I mean? Like personification of who and what we were or are before we came into these bodies is kind of like what I would share with people too. But and then there's a prayer that I probably share on the I put in the description too with people for Ori because it is something that I feel like it's definitely mandatory for us to work on. And then what you giving me the insight on what was being shared in terms of how our Orisha, I'm sorry, our Ori should be, worked on and developed and cultivated and nourished throughout this year. It is something that, I look forward to having more conversations about Dory in order to kind of help people, to elevate and to expand in terms of their consciousness with this path, spiritual.
Yes. Of course, man. It's super important, super important. And I hope, people got something, from this message today, you know what I'm saying, about not only helping ourselves with our ORI, but helping other people.
I share.
Because it's a bigger picture.
Facts.
All about the bigger picture, So yeah, man, that's the best way I can really explain ORI outside of the rituals that we actually do to actually cleanse out our ORI to make sure that we're in alignment.
Right. No, that's facts, bro. How about the uh the reverence for the ancestors based
Yes.
upon what came through with the Odu for the year? I know we spoke about there's certain things that we should probably do in order to strengthen and to kind of like I would say strengthen and to elevate the reverence that we have for our ancestors throughout this year based upon the Odu that was received. What can we do in light of the messages Ifa gave us through divination to honor and connect with and to revere, to hold even deeper levels of reverence to our ancestors this year? Like, can you kind of speak on that about?
So what we're supposed to do is keep our ancestors in light. And what that is, if you have a shrine of, family, whether it's just one family member, you can buy a night light or have candles that, that you can have, by your shrine to keep your ancestors in light. And this year, it talked about keeping the the mother, like our mother side of the Agun alive. So our mother side of our, that family lineage, as far as ancestors, keeping and appeasing that side of our ancestral lineage this year is major. Sure. In our last episode, we talked about the mothers.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? So for this to be one of the messages for the year of the new year, is major, man. Because the mothers don't really get their just due like that all the time. So for us to have to constantly appease our mother's side of our Agun is major.
Yeah.
They say it says that when we feel sorrow or we're down or things aren't going our way, our mother's side of our Agun, our ancestors, they're the one that's going to bring all the blessings back to us.
That's sure.
That's why we have to keep them. We have to keep everybody in light.
That's facts. You
see what I'm saying? So a lot of people, just to put that really in layman's terms, man, a lot of people, really don't understand, the mothers. So for Ifa practitioners and, for people who are just learning, when you exercise loving the mothers, even when you don't feel like it, without them, there's no life.
Right.
We couldn't imagine as men holding a human being. We have to hold it. A woman has to hold in her womb.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We couldn't imagine that as men.
Right.
So we have to pay reverence to that, because that's one of the woman is the closest thing to God.
I agree.
Period.
I'm gonna say, while I'm a man in this body on this planet, the woman is God to me, but I agree.
There you go.
The personification anyways, because who else gonna give you life or bring life? Who you gonna come through to enter this thing called life? You came through you got a belly button, you came through the womb of a woman. So therefore,
yes,
she is God.
Yeah, like it gotta, people gotta get it to make sense, man.
Yeah.
And as we grow, we have to and so I've been in the music industry for a long time. And being in the music industry, now being a Babalawo and whatnot, I've transformed in a way with my spirituality.
I should.
Being in studio sessions where, you see, artists in the booth talking down about women and what that looks like. It's like, man, I had to sit back and look like, man, this isn't serving me at all. Like, how can you talk about praising the mothers and you're sitting back watching somebody not do so out of their mouth, which is what we call Ofoashe.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Which is it's a when you can sit and watch somebody say something that's degrading to the woman.
Right.
Even as Ifa practitioners, man, we should be, calling people, B's and H's. Right. We all know what that is.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we have to uphold that, man. Like, what does that look like for the men in this culture?
Right.
There's nothing manly about calling a woman other than, a queen, or you got women that are kings out here.
Oh yeah. My godmother's about to be one. Yeah, that's fact.
Yeah, man. Like, come on, man. So at the end of the day, man, like, we have to uplift what that is.
That's fact.
And as Ifa practitioners, man, we can't sit back and continuously watch that happen. Because the moment that comes out of our mouth, we're cursing ourselves.
Right. Yeah, that's real.
The moment that you don't address the female energy, the IJ correctly, you're cursing yourself.
Facts.
Period, point blank. Whether it's over a song, whatever. You don't get anywhere, you don't get long life talking about, yeah, this B and this H.
Mm-hmm.
You don't get anywhere with that.
Yeah.
You know, and with my mother and my aunties, man, listen, my grandmother, they accepted nothing else. If it wasn't respect, you couldn't be around them.
That's facts.
Period.
Big facts.
They like, if you disrespect me, I'd rather you leave me be before I hurt you mentally.
In some
A
cases,
lot of people don't realize that a woman's thoughts become things.
Yeah.
Quick.
Yeah.
Because they represent the IJ.
Yeah.
It's not just about how they talk about you, it's how they think about you too.
Yeah.
How do the women around you, how do they think and talk about you? My grandfather always taught me when I was a kid, he was like, if you have 3 or more women mad at you at one time, you're doomed. If you have 3 or more women mad at you at one time, you at least have to have 3 or more women that are on your side. So it can equal out to have balance. So he was like, man, you better have a relationship with the woman.
Yeah, that's real.
Period, point blank, man. But a lot of people don't think about what that is.
Right.
You know, and nobody is perfect, but we can strive to be that. We can have these conversations of building and looking at women in a certain light. Because a woman can decide whether you have life or not.
That's fact.
When you're in that womb and she finds out she's pregnant, she can abort you or keep you. Period.
That's real.
When you're in a woman finds out she's pregnant, she can abort you or keep you.
Even after birth, though.
Even after birth.
Because think about it. Like, if you have a woman who you're with and you love this woman dearly, but you do something, or even if she just decides she don't want to rock with you no more, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've been through divorce. To me, that was death. It was the way I described it when I first started speaking openly about it publicly. I'll never forget. Every single time I mention that, I always say, with all due respect to women, respectfully, I felt like when I had that happen to me, I felt like I had an abortion. I felt as if something inside of me died. You know what I mean? So it was like, when you have that kind of like separation factor, and there was a lot of other elements that came into my situation, more so being my children. But at the end of the day, that's how serious and severe that can be. I just had a conversation with a dude, OG, yesterday in the gym. I was saying when he went through it, it was the worst thing that ever happened to him. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, in some essences, it might not necessarily be a physical death, but it still can equal, you know what I'm saying, like the severity of death. And in a lot of ways, even when we talk about, it is death, because that destruction had to happen in that relationship in order for your transformation to begin, in order to, you know what I'm saying, start the cycle of rebirth again as well. And that's exactly how I felt. It was a rebirth too. So it was death, but it also was the rebirth to, the man that I am today. So it's a real thing, brother. It's a real thing. For sure.
Indeed. Yes, indeed.
That's facts. That's what's up, man. I definitely appreciate the conversation, bro. Like I could keep going, but I know the time is limited and we got, we both got to get to. But bro, it was a powerful conversation as usual. And I look forward to doing it again. But before we wrap it up, is there anything else that you want to share in regards to either ORI or ancestors, or any of the topics that we kind of spoke on prior to the show? Is there anything else that you want to leave off with the people?
For people who are diving into Ifa, handle Ifa as if your life depended on it. Be diligent with Ifa. the way that you deal with Ifa is how Ifa is going to deal with you.
Mm.
The way that we deal with our Agun is how our Agun is going to deal with us.
Mm.
The way that we treat the Orisha is how the Orisha is going to treat us.
Mm.
So at the end of the day, make sure that you're coming into Ifa with a clear head. You know, come in with a clear head, come in with the right intention.
Mm.
You know, if your intention isn't right, don't go down that rabbit hole.
Mm.
Come with the right intention, be diligent. Treat Ifa as if it was your boyfriend or your girlfriend or your grandmother or your grandfather, or your mother or your father. Treat it as such.
Sacred.
It's very sacred. You know, without these entities, we wouldn't be here.
Facts.
So to everyone, Ifa practitioners, for the people that are getting into Ifa, that's the message that I want to leave with you today. Cleanse your Ori, sit with self. Whether you got to meditate, drink a lot of water, work out, and praise the Agun on your mother's side, praise the ancestors on your mother's side, and everything else will open up.
Ashe. That's powerful, brother. Like that. Yeah, that's powerful. That's a mic drop.
Yeah.
That's a mic drop right there, for real. Like,
Yeah.
you said it all. Like, for real. Like that message within itself, I feel like would literally like quantify this whole conversation. Like you just took a whole, it's almost like taking the NBA Finals game last night and then just putting it on Sports Center highlights. That's what you just did with that. But that's dope, man.
Yeah.
Definitely, I definitely appreciate you, brother. It's always an honor and a pleasure, and I look forward to, you know, what we're doing, you know, to build, man. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful to see it coming together into fruition and manifesting, and just the alignment. You know, we spoke about that several times, you know, on and off here, about the divine alignment of what we're seeing and what's manifesting. And I don't think there's much I can add to that. Only thing I'll say is that to the people who are watching the channel, I definitely appreciate the love and support. And I know sometimes there's people who are going through hard times and tough times and struggles. But at the end of the day, I feel like there couldn't be a more better time to be alive than right now, because we're going through and witnessing a cosmic shift, you know, from the heavens above all the way down to the planet. And, you know, at the end of the day, as long as we do everything that you just said in terms of, you know, being diligent and being pure with our intentions, and dedicated and disciplined with our practices, it will definitely, you know, the road will open up and the blessings will develop and manifest. It's all about us doing our part, you know, and it's not going to happen without us doing our part. Everything that you said, I agree with 1,000,000%. And the one thing that you said earlier is that we still have to do our part. We can't just rely on spirit to do everything for us. We have to be willing to do the work, and then, you know, spirit will work with us. So that's powerful, brother. Ashe.
Yes, indeed, man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another episode of the African Spirituality Experience. Big ups and big shout out to my guest, Baba Shango Ni. I am your host, Orisha Gbemi, and I'll see y'all on the next episode. Don't forget to please like and subscribe. We are out. Peace.
Ẹni tó gbàgbé ilé sàpò ìyàgbọ́, tẹ́ǹtì ẹni takísà ní tàtàn, ò bá padà sílé anítìjàkọ, ẹja lọ pé eégún mo sí ẹni gbẹ́rẹ́ ìpàkọ́. Forsake not your ancestors and praise your